countries, and that's driving higher levels of per capita spending. So we're going to take this down as one potential explanation that does seem to show us a little bit, or have some evidence in support of it. What was the next explanation on your list? That's right. So the next explanation was that people in the United States go to the doctor more frequently, and will use hospitals more frequently than other people in Europe. Okay? So let's look at that. Do we use more care? One measure of care is how often people are in hospitals and then discharged, right? So if we're using a ton of care, we will have an extremely high discharge rate, because people will be going into the hospital and then being released, okay? So this is hospital discharges per 1,000 people in the population, okay? And I just said, if people are using and consuming a lot of health care in the United States, we should see a lot of hospital discharges, right? People going in and out of the hospital system, like me. But what does this graph tell us about that hypothesis? Yes?
The U.S. discharge rate is under the median, so it's evidence that doesn't really support that.
Excellent, excellent. So here we see in Germany, they're being released from the hospital quite frequently, but the United States is under the OECD median. And so this doesn't seem quite right. So people are cycling through hospitals, but not at very, very high rates. So this is one measure of consuming health care that doesn't seem to make sense, that we go to doctors more frequently, we go to hospitals more frequently. I'd like to give you another sort of perception or window into the consumption of healthcare. So another slide looks at the average length of stay in a hospital for acute care, okay? So again, if we're going to doctors more frequently, we're going to hospitals, we're demanding more care, we want to stay in hospitals longer, the average stay in a United States hospital should be much higher than in other countries, right? But these are the data, okay? The average length of hospital stays for acute care in 2011, you can see that in Germany it was 7.9 days, okay? And it goes down to the median, OECD median, which is 6.4. And then the United States is down here at 5.4 days, okay? So again, this shows us another piece of the utilization puzzle, okay? And it says that the average length of our hospital stay in the United States is not a lot longer than the median, or it's not at this high range. So again, this sort of provides evidence against this idea that we use doctors and hospitals more frequently than in other countries. Another look at the same utilization question. The average annual number of physician visits per capita. So raise your hand if you have an idea about how many times you think that the average person goes to see any type of doctor in the United States per year. I mean, you are all very young, so you're going to go to the doctor a little bit less frequently. Do you have any guess about that? Yeah, just guess. Yeah. 6 times, okay. What do you think, John? 2 or 3? Okay, yeah. Good, good mix, right? So the winner is, in the United States we go about 4 times per year. But this is how we stack up against other industrialized countries. So this, again, is the average number of physician visits per capita. And you can see that the median is 6.6 times per year. The United States is at 4.1. Okay, so we're not seeing physicians a lot more. Okay, we're less than the OECD median. Look at this. I just wanted to point this out. In Japan, they're going 13.1 times. 13.1 times, and that's quite a bit. Okay, that's quite a lot. this is a marked difference from the other countries. But the main point here is that in the United States, we're not going a lot more. Okay, we're at the lower tail. So again, this is another piece of evidence that we just simply don't consume more by going to providers more frequently or going to hospitals more frequently. So we can kind of say no to that hypothesis. What was the next hypothesis that we had? And you'll all get this because I told my dramatic hospital story. Yes, Joe?
Innovation and more use of type.
Right. Excellent. So in the United States, there is this idea that we use more innovation and technology, and we use more high-tech care, or high-tech tools, which are expensive services. High-tech usually equates to expensive services than other countries. Okay. There is some. I'll give you the punchline here. There's some evidence that that is in fact true. So this looks at inpatient coronary bypass grafts per 100,000 in the population. Okay, and this is basically open heart surgery. Okay, and this is a very high-tech, complicated surgery, an expensive surgery, requiring technology and skill. And we do a lot more of these open heart surgeries than in other countries. Okay, per 100,000 in the population. Okay, so here is some evidence that we do use a lot more high-tech equipment, training, and skill to perform these types of surgeries in the United States. So this is some type of evidence that this is a cause. Okay, this is something that also provides some evidence in support of the fact that the United States is using more high-tech technology as well as expensive equipment. These are MRI imaging exams per million in the population. The United States does a lot more MRIs than in other countries. We use a lot more high-tech equipment to diagnose disease in the United States. Okay, so you'll learn all about my disabilities today. So I've always been a runner. I've been running since I was like 18 years old, and I got away with running like 5 miles a day for most of my life. And then I was in my mid-30s, and I was like, oh man, my right knee really, really hurts. And so I went to see the doctor, of course, in New York City, and he said, oh, I don't really know what's going on here. Let's go take an MRI, right? So that's what we do. So you go down, you take the picture of the knee, and he said, I really can't tell from the MRI what's causing your pain. So let's do exploratory arthroscopic surgery, okay? Because I wasn't getting better. And so he opened up my knee arthroscopically, and he said, when he opened it up, and he closed it up, and I remember coming out of anesthesia, and I remember him standing, this is actually funny, it's very funny. He's standing above me, like he's gonna explain, and I'm just coming out of anesthesia, and he has a model of the bone of my knee, and he's gonna explain it to me as I'm, you know where this is going, right? He has a model of my knee in his hand, and I was like, so confused. I was like, Dr. Arsh, why are you holding my knee? He said, oh, Jocelyn, you're just coming out. So he's holding the knee, and then, I don't know, it was so, why did he do that? I was just coming out of anesthesia, and terrorized me for life. And then he showed me that part of my knee, right here, after all of that running, the cartilage was completely gone. So he said, we don't really do anything like that here. Go up to the Hospital for Special Surgery. Raise your hand if you've heard of the Hospital for Special Surgery in New York City. What is it known as? I mean, what does it do? What is it?
Well, they do all kinds of different, very specialized surgeries.
Right, but it's known as.
Reputation isn't too developed here.
Oh.
Some people-
Okay, maybe you had some bad outcomes, but the Hospital for Special Surgery is like #1 for orthopedics in the country, or like one of the top hospitals. So I go to see the doctor there. He's like, okay, let me look at your MRI. He's like, you know, here at the Hospital for Special Surgery, have more refined imaging that we can do. So let's hit the MRI machine again. I'm gonna glow. I've been exposed to so much radiation. So I said, okay, they did the imaging, and he confirmed that, that this problem was with the cartilage. And by that time, I was feeling up and down. So I'd have a couple months of running, and it'll be fine. And then then it would kill again, and then I would have to stop running and do something else. So I was able to hold out for about 10 years without doing any surgery. And then finally, it started to hurt again. And he said, okay, after 10 years, let's take another image. Let's see what's going on. So I went through and then the next MRI, they look at it. By this time, my doctor is Dr. Rodeo, Scott Rodeo, orthopedic surgeon for who? For me. And you see him on television every week, orthopedic surgeon for the New York Giants. Pretty cool, right? So he's used to these big athletes who are really tough, and I come in and I'm like, oh, Dr. Rodeo, what do you need? He's like, okay, so this is what we're gonna do. He's like, you're in so much pain. He's like, we're gonna do a cartilage transplant from a cadaver donor. I said, I wanna pick that cadaver. I wanna know who's going into my knee, right? And he said, oh, you can't really do that. And so I went on a wait list, and someone generously donated their body to science, and they took someone else's cartilage, is now in my knee. It didn't end well. The transplant took, so your body can reject the transplant, right? Whenever you get some type of tissue, your body can reject it, right? No, the transplant is fine. It's really well integrated with my own cartilage. But Dr. Rodeo doesn't know why, but the tendon connecting my thigh, my quad muscle to my knee after the surgery tripled in size. So I'm in a lot of pain, and I'm not running. And so this has gone on for 2 years. And so Dr. Rodeo said, let's scan it. Let's scan it again. So he scans it again, and he's like, oh yeah, it is triple in size. So we can't do an operation when we'll go in there and we'll just, I'm like, wait, we'll do what? And he said, yeah, we'll just take some of it away. I said, is there a name for take some away of my tendon? Because I've never